wasn't quite sure where he was going with all that, but thought I'd just shut that down right now. Oh, Andy Carruthers. Say hi, Andy.
Hi.
He's in the hot seat today. He's going to get in the hot hat.
Here you go.
Google it. Tararua SK.
Yep.
So it's a run. Andy, tell us about it. How did it come about? And tell us about the grueling aspects of it. Is it a place though for little kids?
No.
Okay.
It's not a place for little
Sorry,
kids.
Mum.
That you go into. Is there a chance that you could, in that pain, look like this?
Hey, half it's downhill, Graham. Half it's downhill. It's all good. And that's Hotline here at San Diego. Oh, well, folks, hey, welcome here. We're back here on Friday. It's Friday afternoon, Courtenay Place at San Diego. Hey, big shout out to Greg, who owns this place. He's getting married in Tonga. So, wherever you are, Greg, mate. I'm Sean Rush. I'm here with Sarah Jane. We're your host for this afternoon. We're here with Andy Carruthers. Say hi, Andy. Hi. He's in the hot seat today. He's going to get the hot hat.
Here you go.
So Andy, welcome along. Fantastically here. Now, do you want to lift up your sign that you've got here? Look at this, folks.
Wow.
If you've never heard of this, you need to Google it. Tararua SK.
Yep.
So it's a run. Andy, tell us about it. How did it come about? And tell us about the grueling aspects of it.
All right. Well, so the Tararua SK is an amazing route in the Tararua range, our local range. And so it runs along the whole length of the range from kind of Ikirahuna to Kaitoki.
Ikirahuna, South Wairarapa,
Yep.
all the way through to pretty much Upper Hutt. Is that
That's
it?
right.
Yeah.
When did it start?
So back in the early 60s, the 4 tramping clubs created this weekend challenge to leave work on a Friday night, get the train to Ikirahuna and traverse the length of the range so that you finished on Sunday night to be back at work on Monday morning.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's a 7-day hike you were saying before.
Yeah.
So how do you do that?
Well, so how it all kind of started is the guys would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and would start on Friday night. They'll walk in, get up 4 o'clock Saturday morning, do 16, 17 hours, have a little bit of a sleep, and then do the same thing on Sunday.
Hang on a minute. What's going on here? It's all happening here at Courtenay Place. Right? It's a hot place with the hot people and the hot guy with the hot hat and the hot seat. So let's carry on about.
Yeah.
So just hang on a minute though. That's a lot of uphill. Right?
Like it's more than 7,000 vertical meters of climb.
Wow, 7 kilometres up.
Wow.
So that's the same as climbing Mount Everest twice from base camp. So that's a lot of vertical
Oh
gain.
wow, Sarah Jane.
How many times have you done this tramp?
So I've done it 3 times, 4 times, failed twice.
Do you think I could do it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I couldn't. I couldn't.
Oh,
I shouldn't even
I got
try.
that
I
first.
shouldn't even think about it.
Oh,
Is there
okay.
can I get an electric bike to take me maybe?
You can just do it over 7 days.
Yeah. Well, I did the hump bridge earlier this year, and I want to get the kids into hiking. Is it a place though for little kids?
No.
Okay,
It's not a place for little
Sorry,
kids.
Mum.
But you can take them to Adi Whakatū Hut or one of the other huts in the range.
And would that be from Ikirahuna or?
So that's from Holdsworth.
Yeah.
So near Masterton.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Andy, and what's the go with the movie? What's that about? And tell us about the award it won or where it was shown.
So look, the movie's all about the heart and spirit of the adventure community that play in the Tararua range.
Oh my goodness,
So-
there's a whole community of them.
Absolutely.
Great.
Like starting back, from the tramping clubs, and then now it's into the mountain running community.
Cool.
And so you've got, these elite mountain runners who try and run it in under 24 hours. So we've, documented all of the history. We've got, 8 different interviews in it. And the film, won the Best Human Interest Film at the Toronto Documentary Film Festival. So,
Sarah
Well, we
Jane.
have a question from the audience,
Oh,
aka
cool.
the camera. What did you want to say?
the darkness, that pain that you go into if you do have to do it in 24 hours. I mean, you look fairly sprightly today, but what's the pain that you go into? Is there a chance that you could, in that pain, look like this?
Hey, half it's downhill, Graham. Half it's downhill. It's all good.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's pretty extreme, right? And yeah, there's a lot of pain that people go through. There's a Wellington guy I know who I met for many years, and I didn't recognise him because the only photo I'd seen of him was after doing the SK, and he just looked like he'd aged about 50 years compared to what he looks like day to day. So yeah, it's intense. It's an intense physical challenge.
So basically, he ended up looking like that. Well, thanks for that description.
Okay, so in Wellington, where is your favourite beach?
So my favourite beach in Wellington is actually down the Wainui coast.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So yeah, I grew up in Point Howard over near the petrol wharves, and so we used to do a lot of surfing down that Wainui coast. I just love it down there.
Nice.
How do you get there? You're not talking about by Berwick's Head, are you?
So you drive over the hill down to Wainui, down to the coast.
Rimataka National Park, out that way.
Yeah.
Well, my uncle was the manager there
Wow.
years ago.
Oh,
That's got a beautiful part of. It's just unbelievable. You can actually have that right close to Wellington, isn't it?
we're so spoiled.
Oh,
I got a few more questions as well. Do you prefer the sun or like the snow?
So look, I actually love both. You know, I mean, I love the fact that we have, in our winter we get snow in the ranges. We're not far away from the ski fields. And summertime, I love the Wairarapa. I love being out at Riversdale Beach and enjoying summer.
So a bit of both. Depends on the occasion.
Season.
I was going to ask whereabouts is your shirt from as well.
Well, this was a birthday present that my wife bought me when we were in Bali. And
looks like something out of Happy Days, doesn't it?
it was this really cool store.
Hey Andy, thanks so much for coming in. It's just I've seen the promo of the movie, folks. Google it. It is some of the most spectacular scenery you'll ever see, and I didn't realise that it was right here in the Tararoos, close to us here in Wellington. So go and have a look and go and join up with the club, do the weekend test if you've got that sort of commitment. But anyway, thanks so much, Andy. We're with Andy Carruthers. He's been the guy in the hot seat with a hot hat, and that's Hotline here at San Diego.
You can't beat Wellington on a good day or even a bad day too. You can't beat Wellington, it's a cliche, but nonetheless it's true.
Hot guy in the hot seat, he's going to get the hot hat,
There you go.
is Wellington City Councilor Nureddin Abdurahman. I know that they brought a proposal to sell the airport in the previous term, and that got turned down as well. A bit like you, actually. It came out of nowhere. No one campaigned on it. Is it come from the offices? Are they trying to balance the books?
How do you feel being in Courtenay Place, knowing that the council's going to come down here and some of the bars are going to struggle while they turn it into a construction zone?
Welcome, folks. Here we are at San Diego here, Friday afternoon, Courtenay Place, with Hotline. I'm the hot guy here, Sean Rush. I'm your host with the hot lady, she's Sarah Jane Seddon. And the hot guy in the hot seat, he's going to get the hot hat,
There you go.
is Wellington City Councillor Nureddin Abdurahman. How'd that go?
Oh, you're doing good, Sean.
Hey, well, welcome along, Nureddin. Okay, so you know that I was a city councillor, so we've got a bit in common we can talk about, but I wanted to start by give us a bit of your background. How did you get involved in local body politics, and who was the people that sort of encouraged you to get involved?
Cool. My name is Nureddin Abdurahman. I came from Ethiopia in 2008, and my first job was at bakery in Torrey Street. And from there on, I went to warehouse, and the politician that inspired me the most is Annette King, the best.
Annette King, Chris Finlayson's cousin. I understand that she was amazing for Rongotai. I would have voted for her too, apparently. But okay, now I've got to ask you about my old mate Fleur Fitzsimons. Was she inspirational as well?
She is. Fleur is just one of those political machines, and she's a good family person. She is a good politician, good human being. She works like unbelievably. So she's just like a machine.
Yeah, well, Fleur and I were on the other side of debates at some time, but you know, I always respected her and I endorse everything you've just said about her too. And I'm sure we'll see her back in the politics at some point.
Sure.
So Nureddin, big issue here facing Wellington, sale of the airport. You've got some views on it with some of the other councillors. Do you want to give us your heads up?
Yes, Wellington is selling airport share is a really bad idea. I've said that from the beginning. It shouldn't be happening. Now we have the number, and there is no reason to go ahead with it when 9 out of 16 councillors are saying stop it.
Okay.
So
So why are they?
Well, I think we are bringing notice of motion.
I was about to say.
And it's going to stop this madness.
Well, we have a question from the audience about this. Will the council sell the airport?
Well, I think it shouldn't.
Just answer that.
And there is no mandate from the community. Like 75% of the community is just opposing it. Majority of councillors are in opposition. Whose idea was this? We didn't campaign on it. All of us, we advocated before election saying that we're not going to sell it. So why are we doing it? I think we're letting our communities down. It is time to stop this madness.
Yeah, okay, so you know that they brought a proposal to sell the airport in the previous term and that got turned down as well. A bit like you actually, it came out of nowhere, no one campaigned on it. Is it come from the officers? Are they trying to balance the books?
Well, I think that's what they say. Look, we have an insurance issue.
Yeah.
We got a 800 million insured asset for 25 million. That is like more than 3% of what we insure. We are already paying a lot. And so what is the solution? To sell more than 500 million worth of asset, strategic asset. That is bringing a dividend. Only last year, 20 million.
So that's a big increase. It was 12 million when I was there and then COVID hit, so we got nothing. So 20 million actually is a nice little number to have as a secure bit of income.
I think it's arguably, you can ask some of our economists, there will be no kind of PIF, the investment that we're trying to invest on, that can bring you this much money, dividend.
How do you balance, though, being an investor in a high-emitting industry like the airport? It doesn't seem consistent with the net zero aspirations. What do you say to the Green Party colleagues when they sort of like say, well, we should be out of these high-emitting activities?
Well, I think that actually is insane kind of an argument by itself, because if you want to make a difference, if you are owning it, that is how you can make a difference. You can you have a directorship in the airport.
Yep.
You can make a difference on how to move from one to another. In this case, we are saying, no, this is polluting the environment. What are we going to do? We take our directors off. We're not going to do anything about it.
All right, Sarah Jane.
Well, switching up the topic.
Switching up the topic.
Switching up the topic.
Enough, everyone's gone to sleep with bloody politics in Wellington.
Well, I was going to say, I'm from Island Bay, and how do you find Island Bay and everything that's going on in Island Bay?
Where do you live? You live out that way, don't you? Southern Ward Councillor?
They're like,
Well, Island Bay is one of the best suburbs in the city. We know the community is very diverse, and the community also lives in a very communal ways as well.
Yeah.
So I think there are some issues the way council deal with our communities. The community is not against some of those projects. The problem is how the community engaging with those communities to deliver those projects.
Yeah.
So that is the issue that we have when it comes to engagement with communities.
So you're 2 years in.
Yep.
First of all, how have you found it? Is it something is it everything you kind of expected? Or is it like, wow, what have I got myself into? How do I get out of it? Or is it like, I'm really loving this, just finding my feet, wow, I'm going to have another go next term?
Well, look, I actually found it a very rewarding job. In the first couple of months, one of the things that came to us is affordable sports review, which we promised during the election time, was signed by the mayor saying that we're not doing it. Straight away, new councillor, only couple of months, I put notice of motion, boom. Now that review report is out today. and which is really great. So I'm finding my feet.
And okay, so just what's the report in a very quick summary, because I remember that sports reel and thrilled that you guys are championing it. What does it say?
Well, the question was, sports is not affordable. Why are we paying this much? Can the council make
Yep.
discount it? And now that if we look at it, and they say it's very hard the way council do it to find a record of it.
Yeah.
So they said there should be some workers in there, and we are going to do it. Sports should be affordable for our community.
Awesome.
Switching up the topic again. Gotta get it hot. Whereabouts is your shirt from?
Oof, this one is from Three Wise Men.
Nice. You know, I've got what I refer to this as my Mike Moore shirt. So Mike Moore passed away while I was a councillor. I wore a red tie on his memory. So not a Labor guy, but Mike Moore was a pretty good guy. So I always think of Mike and my Labor mates when I wear this shirt. But anyway,
Quick question from the floor.
Yep.
How do you feel being in Courtenay Place, knowing that the council is going to come down here and some of the bars are going to struggle while they turn it into a construction zone for 18 months?
Look, I used to drive taxi, standing right there, doing a lot of jobs, picking people and dropping to their home. Now, that is not happening much. I think we need to support our businesses. We need to make this place again busy for the businesses. When you support the businesses, you are supporting those communities on the ground, people who used to drive taxi like me. So we need to support everyone. We need to reactivate this area.
really thrilled to hear that, Nureddin.
Yeah.
And thanks so much for taking time off. This is your community day. I know it's a Friday. Thanks very much. I've heard a lot of good things about you. Seems like they're all true to me as far as I can see. So good luck. Hope you hang around for another term because you'll be even better. And thanks for coming on the show.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
And quickly, where's your favourite beach?
Oh, look, I got a lot, but I have to be a bit, Ofira Bay and Island Bay Beach.
Woohoo! And it's
Pretty good. All right, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Can't beat Wellington on a good day or even a bad day too. You can't beat Wellington, it's a cliche, but nonetheless it's true.
Mike Egan, welcome, Mike. Give him the funny hat.
Here you
Good
go.
afternoon. Good afternoon.
Mike.
Been in the industry 44 years. Started at Cobb & Co in Lower Hutt.
When you're on.
Yeah, come on.
You're on now. Hey, you are the recipient of the Wellington Live Umbrella Award.
How do I display it?
Anyway,
There you go.
right folks, here we are on Courtenay Place. It's Friday afternoon. You're in Hotline with the hot guys in the hot seat, the hot hat, and the hot guy in the hot seat today is restaurateur, premier, the grand fromage of Courtenay Place, Mike Egan. Welcome, Mike. Give him the funny hat.
Good afternoon.
Mike, you own the Monsoon Poon. What other businesses are you involved in, and for how long you been? How did you get into the industry?
Been in the industry 44 years. Started at Cobb & Co in Lower Hutt as a waiter, as an 18-year-old. There you go.
Oh, chicken in a basket is all I can remember for Cobb & Co.
Never did chicken in the basket. Cobb Schnitzel. That was what you're thinking of probably.
And what are you? As I say, you got the Monsoon Poem. What else you got around?
Involved with Bullcott Street Bistro, Burger Liquor, Terrace Villas. Yep.
Wow.
Had a lot of other businesses over the years in Wellington. Ospo.
Which was your first one?
Was Van Gogh's in Eastbourne in 1984 when I
Wow.
was 23 years old. That was my first business I was involved in. Yep.
And how long have you been active in this
Courtenay Place,
area?
1996.
About the same as me, actually, when I got to university.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta say, from Monsoon Poon, we had a burger there not that recently, and it was beautiful. What do you want to explain the craft of your burger?
Oh yeah, we're just taking, the Chinese boys in the kitchen love doing pork belly. So we roast off pork belly, get it all crispy and crunchy, and put a few special gherkins and Sichuan pepper with it, and turn it into our burger.
Beautiful.
It's called Getting Ma Belly.
Well,
get
there
it.
you go, folks, at the Monsoon Poem. Get my belly. Okay, so Mike, we've just had a city councillor on the show.
Yep.
We talked a wee bit about some things, but we've got a big project here on Courtenay Place. Is it something to look forward to?
Well, yes and no. So we don't know what it's going to be, how long it's going to take, how much it's going to cost. It's still a bit up in the air, and their vision for what it's going to end up like may not be what it ends up like, because you can take people on the journey, but the businesses have got to survive, and we've got to be able to pay the rents, and the new look might not suit their sort of style of business. It might be too flash. It might end up looking like Lend & Key, and that's what not sort of edgy hospo businesses want as their backdrop. So they might it might change into something else. So who knows? And the hospo, we survive. We'll just move to another area where the rents are cheaper. There's a bit of funkiness, a bit of grunge, because that's what we want.
I mean, I can just look across the road. I can see 4D signs. I can see closed up bars that have been here for a couple of decades. Is that message getting through to the city council that there's some people that genuinely are hurting here?
Who knows? You'd have to ask them. You'd think it would, but when you see this many closed places in a what used to be a really vibrant entertainment district area, we went to them and said, why don't we rename the area instead of Courtenay Place? Why don't we call it the Theatre District? Or the Arts District? Let's change it, and let's give it something a bit classier than bad old Courtenay Place where there's drunk people everywhere and homeless and everything. We need to change it up. The St James Theatre's been done up, looks great. Yep. So that's the catalyst. So let's keep going. Tarkina's a great asset. So the area can change and will change, but then it's all going to change again when they rip the street up for 2 or 3 years.
And when's that supposed to start?
End of this year.
End of this year. Wow.
Yep.
Okay. And so, Sarah Jane, have you got any questions on that?
Well, I was going to say, since I'm a student living here on Courtenay Place, what would you do to brighten it up? Or rather than just the name change, is there anything you could do, like add lights or anything?
Yeah, I mean, we've tried that in the past, but you've got to get resource consent. A few years ago, there used to be a whole lot of festoon lighting on Oriental Bay around the Norfolk Pines. We got it all when they were going to take it to the tip. We strung it up across the street. We had it up for 2 years before the council noticed. Then they said, hey, you haven't got resource consent. And we said, well, no, we can't afford it. Makes the street look great. They said, yeah, we agree, but you've got to take it down. So we've tried to brighten the things up, but different councils have different ideas about things, so you can't really fight them in the end of the day. You just got to go with what they say.
It's a sad thing to say, but there does seem to be a common theme amongst city councils around New Zealand, which seems to be a bit of an absence of common sense.
Yep.
And that's not necessarily about the individuals. There's legislation that needs to be followed. There's policies. I mean, what can we do about it? What would you be?
There's policies, but policies only matter if they're enforced. Sometimes they can ignore things if it suits them. I was looking at the leaking water outside Mill Wilson's on Tory Street. It's just a valve that needs replacing. Well, I know they're going to be shutting that off for hours. Like, why don't the guys work at 1 o'clock in the morning? It's probably a 1 hour job when there's no traffic. So why don't they come out at night when there's no one around and instead of interrupting it, because already they're starting to put cones out, and it's just going to be a huge amount of disruption for what's really a washer and a valve and a Toby.
Yeah.
Oh, quick question from the audience. How do you know it's just a washer and a valve and a Toby?
Because when the water's coming out of the Toby and the valve, when we've talked to the guys, 9 times out of 10, it's just a washer that needs replacing.
And what, do you think you could do it yourself?
No, but they can do it really quickly if they
No,
don't
if
need
you had
go.
to though, if you had to get up to Plumbing World, do you reckon you could
you need a big wrench. I've watched them do it. They have like an 8-foot wrench that they use to get the Toby off, and they have to turn the water off up the street. It does take, but I've watched them do it in 15 minutes in Claremont Terrace, and it was and they said, yeah, we can do this really quickly, and they did it because they just sort of worked out there's hardly any traffic. It will take 15 minutes of disruption.
All right. So, okay, we know that Wellington's got some issues. What are the positives, Mike? What's positive about this fantastic place?
The weather can't be Wellington on a good day. There is great. There are great people here. There's a great vibe. I mean, the feng shui of the city's really great. The hills envelop you. The green belt's wonderful.
Yeah.
The proximity to the ocean and the bush.
Coastal marine area. All right. Oh, thanks so much for that, Mike. Thanks so much for coming in, being the hot guy in the hot seat. Good luck with the restaurant. Let's hope we can get Courtenay Place back to where it used to be and where it deserves to be. Thanks so much for coming on Hotline. Cheers.
Pleasure.
Graham Bloxon for Wellington Live and Hotline down here in Courtenay Place, and I'm here with a successful restaurateur and a hard-working man, someone that's brought so much colour, vibrancy, yummy tummy stuff, and probably some big parties and some stories to tell in your restaurants. You give a lot back to the industry. You lead with innovation. You lead with consistency. And I invented the Umbrella Award
Yes, I've seen it online.
And it's an award for good buggers, for good people that have achieved something magnificent. And today you are the recipient of the Wellington Live Umbrella Award.
How do I display it? Thank you.
That there, my friend, is
Goes straight to the pool room.
straight to the pool room, and congratulations and thank you for being the thoughtful, considerate, hard-working dude that you are. Wellington appreciates you and supports you, and as far as I'm concerned, you're a bloody legend.
Thank you. All right.
Steve Goody. That'll be amazing for Wellington Live's numbers.
Everybody wants to see that.
Full video here.
How do I get a house? And also, what are like the steps to get a house?
So what's your ideal sort of investment property? Folks, welcome back to Hotline. You're here with Sean Rush, Sarah Jane Seddon. We're interviewing hot Wellington Tonians in the hot seat today with, who's going to get a hot hat,
Yes.
is property investor
There you
Already
go.
a hat guy, but yeah, all right. It's good to go.
Steve Goody. Steve, welcome to the show. Tell us a bit. You've got not just one or two properties. You've got a bit. So, do you want to tell us a bit about your portfolio? Maybe talk about the property values. Was hearing that they're going down. And what about rates? How's that affecting you?
Oh God, where to start? Yeah, no, I've got a few properties around Wellington. I've been an investor for 20, 30 years around here. Grew up here, lived here for 50 out of the last 51 years.
What
and,
school?
Capity College.
Capity College.
Represent.
Okay.
Yeah, property values peaked a couple of years ago. They shat themselves 28%. And
Technical term, folks. That.
there'll be some notes later. And they're just starting to warm back up again, and official cash rate reduction this week. So cash got a bit cheaper, so yeah.
Okay, so you are in the commercial space, residential.
Totally
bit of a balance?
residential. I like the
Totally?
liquidity of it. I like the fact that everybody needs to live somewhere.
Beautiful. And presumably there's still a lack of rental space. That's what I hear.
I don't know. I mean, rents have started to come down in
Yeah.
Wellington, which is unusual. I think that we've developed quite a bit out the hut. We've got a lot of townhouses now, and we're kind of at a good space.
When I was a city councillor, we had particularly student representative groups and Renters United would come and tell us about how terrible the state of the housing stock was. And I experienced a bit of that when I was a much younger man. What do you say? Do you have a portfolio that you actively manage and insulate? And
Yeah, I think everybody does these days. It's a minimum requirement.
Yeah.
If you don't have clean, dry places, then, you know...
you're not going to rent it out?
Yeah, but in the market shit, you know.
Yeah. And so what's easier in terms of dealing with councils, Wellington or Lower Hutt City?
Oh, they're both a bit interesting, to be fair.
Okay, I like it.
It's sometimes a
Interesting.
battle between property investors, developers and council. They make the rules and we live with them.
Sarah Jane.
Well, I've got a few questions from the audience.
Go
Well,
ahead.
how do I get a house? And also, what are like the steps to get a house?
Oh, great question. First thing, join KiwiSaver. Within 2 years of KiwiSaver, you can pull it out to buy your first home, and that's usually the easiest way to do compulsory savings. And work hard to save some money, and realise that saving that first deposit for your first home is the absolute hardest part of buying any houses for the rest of your life. That is the hardest part. After that, it just gets a lot easier.
I was roundly criticised by some quarters when I was a city councillor. I said that for young people, the road to ownership of a house in Mount Vic is hard. It needs careful management, saving, and usually a life partner with you. And I stand by those words, but some people didn't want to hear that. How long do you think you need to save before you get that first deposit?
I think property's a ladder, and I think you have to touch the bottom rung before you get to the top
Yeah.
rung. I think a house in Mount Vic is aspirational. It took me 50 years to get there.
Yeah.
I started with, a technical term, a shitbox in 9i, which needed a lot of work, and we did it up and added value to it and stepped from there to there to there to the next.
Did you commute all the way from 9i to work in town?
No, it was tougher than that. I actually had to work in Lower Hutt. Yeah.
Oh, it's a lovely place. We all love our little centres.
Lived there for a very, very long time. I preferred Petone to 9i, but you do you.
Yeah.
Sarah?
Whereabouts is your favourite beach in Wellington?
Ooh, I kind of like that little Lena Bay area. Just
Oh, yeah. Well,
it's
That's
really
pretty
warm
big.
water in summer. It's a little catchment there. Don't tell everybody though, okay?
I think it's going out to everybody, so
Okay.
So what's your ideal sort of investment property?
I like to invest in whatever my portfolio needs at the time. If it needs an equity deal, I try and buy something at a big discount that's going to grow in value. So then you're talking Queenstown, Auckland, sometimes Wellington. Otherwise, it's pure cash flow. You're looking for something that's actually going to wash its own back so you can move on to the next deal after that.
I was recently interviewed by the press about the rates rises.
Yeah.
And how family places out in Strathmore got hit hardest last time. Rosie's got away with it. Now it's turned around. How do the rates rises affect someone like you? Do you just push it all onto your renters?
Well, you can't really, because landlords don't decide how much rent to charge. The market decides.
Yeah.
And if you pitch it too high, you get vacancies. But what we've got is like a booming property market that's gone up like 60-70% in 5 years, and then that's when they reviewed the rates, and then we've got a 20% increase on top of that.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. I'm personally paying about $3,000 a week in rates across my portfolio. It's horrific. Yeah,
Wow.
it's huge.
I mean, we like to plan using sustainable city principles, but I don't think rates rises like that is sustainable.
Sometimes we want things in a city that we can't afford. Town halls.
What?
Yeah, let's not start there.
Yeah, okay.
It's expensive.
Okay, another switching it up.
Switching it up.
question
Here we go,
that's
yep.
on like another hotline question. Whereabouts is your favourite restaurant to go to?
God, don't even start with that. Shepherd,
Ooh.
Concord,
Ooh,
Field
got a
and
whole
Green,
list.
all the ones that are closed, basically.
Ah.
Yeah, really disappointingly, all the ones that have,
Okay.
Monsoon Poon is open. They're doing great.
Monsoon.
Burgers.
Valley burgers.
Yeah,
Monsoon
get in
Poon's
my
there
belly.
I mean, come on, like, I've watched a lot of your back reels of all of your politicians and elected officials coming on saying Wellington's not dying, and I'm sorry, it is. We need to realise that this place needs some infrastructure, some investment, and we've wasted it for 40 years. We haven't put the money in. It's distressing.
Quick question from the cameraman. Would you ever run for councilor or mayor?
I considered it. We had somebody go to the Parliament from the Green Party recently, and I thought that me and flagrant capitalists involved in there could be an interesting mix.
What would you do? I mean, if you could get in charge of Wellington and you had a checkbook, and what would you do?
That's the thing. I looked at it and went, I don't think it can be fixed in a generation. So I just went, well, I'm just going to roll with it again. Because I don't think it can be fixed.
No, answer the question, please.
Oh, I think I did.
If you
I
had
think
the
I
money,
did.
what would you do?
I would do things that I don't think can be fixed. I don't think there's a generation where the slightly overly woke public of Wellington is prepared to pay for the things that it needs.
Interesting.
Place
Yeah.
is leaking like a sieve.
So, I mean, from my perspective, I suppose I decided not to stand again because I felt my skills of actually being
Did you get beat up or what?
top,
Was that it?
top flight lawyer in infrastructure are better off actually doing infrastructure projects
Fair.
and bringing gas to Taranaki, which is what I'm doing at the moment. So I totally sympathise with you, but it is a bit concerning to hear that's your attitude. We do have this kaupapa on this show that, you know, Wellington isn't dying, we're cup half full, you know, and we recognise there are problems, but, you know, it's good to be a realist sometimes.
Well, every
as
time
well.
you see something like Whistling Sisters, massive setup, and it's all been ripped out to be released.
Yeah.
Well,
Seriously.
switching it up again, whereabouts is your shirt from?
I got this in Banana Republic in New York 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Correct, yes.
Nice.
Spreading
I know,
news.
bit of a flex. What do you do?
Yeah.
All right, Steve. Hey, well, so thanks very much for coming on. Thanks for giving us a bit of,
Thanks for having me.
a bit of cold hard advice there, folks. I still think this city's great. I still think that the people are great. We just need to switch up a few things and wear some better shirts from New York.
Absolutely.
So, but thanks very much for coming on Hotline. That was Sean, Sarah, and Steve on Hotline. Hot people with the hot picks and the hot hats. And have a great evening.
Can't beat Wellington on a good day or even a bad day too. You can't beat Wellington, it's a cliche, but nonetheless it's true.
Man in the hot seat is Aaron Gilmore.
Who's
Give him
about
a
to
hot
have my
hat.
hat? There you go.
And now, last time I spoke with you, you own a couple of businesses, or the premises, I think, in Hataitai.
Yeah.
Are you still got those? Courtenay Place. It's here at San Diablo. It's a hot line with hot people. I've got the hot hat. I'm Sean Rush. I'm here with Sarah Jane Seddon with a hot hat on too. With man in the hot seat is Aaron Gilmore.
Who's
Get the
about
hot
to
hat.
Thank you. Oh my God, amazing.
Aaron Gilmore, well known to a lot of people, former MP, National Party I think it was, also stood for council, got a bit of notoriety in and around that run. Aaron, how are you? What are you up to?
I'm good, Sean. Nice to be here. Nice to see you. Nice to be here at Wellington Live. Good group of people.
All good, yeah. So, and just a bit of confession here, folks. Aaron's a member of the Roseneck Residents Association. That's how we first met, and has been very generous and supportive. Tell us about your candidacy for the Wellington City Council, and is there something, would you like to do it again next year?
Look, when I ran, I knew I was going to get last or first, and unfortunately I got second to last, so that was an interesting scenario. So, look, the problem is I ran then because Wellington was a mess and needed a whole lot of things changed. And you either listen to somebody's views and opinion, you go, yep, that person can do it, or go, bugger me, I've got to try and do it myself. Yeah. So I thought I'd do it myself. The irony is 4 or 5 of the things that I ran on that I got laughed at that time are now happening. It's just one of those things that...
Serendipity.
Serendipitous. Serendipitous, yes.
What 5 things?
Well, look, the people are now saying Takana was going to be a disaster and should be sold and go through. There's an example. So Takina, sorry, I can't even pronounce
the convention
it.
centre.
Convention centre. The council should never have actually. It should might have built it, but then got out of it. The airport shares, yes, the money. There's no reason why the council should be owning investments in a commercial airport.
Quick question from the cameraman. Do you think we should sell the zoo, Wellington Zoo?
No, I was a volunteer at the zoo for 2 years.
So you wouldn't sell the zoo, but you would sell the airport?
Well, the answer is for the zoo, what would you sell? You could sell some land at the zoo in theory, but you're better off selling golf courses.
What did you do at the zoo, Aaron? That's interesting.
I can show you some interesting photos of me cleaning up closets. or feeding lions or horses. I love
nice.
that.
Yeah, feeding lions!
Basically, I end up having a couple of hours a week, a couple of days a week spare after selling some things. I thought I'll do some volunteer work. So
Brilliant. And then got into politics, thrown to the Lions.
Sure.
Talk us through, come on. There's the infamous, what was it? Don't you know who I am incident. I know that you've got a side of the story that's never been told. You know, talk us through.
Well, first of all, there's a book being written, so we'll wait for that. Second of all, Sean Plunkett was on news, his show. What is his show called? Platform.
I don't know. His show's woke. He's woke.
Yeah. So Sean Plunkett did a video.
Sean woke it.
And I rang in and said, Sean, hey, I want to talk to you about this saying I'm famous for. And he apologised because he was the one who invented it. And I didn't even say it. But it was one of those things. It's good to be known for something you didn't do.
Sarah Jane, help me out. What? We've got something from the Facebook. Come on.
Oh, well, the Facebook was actually going to ask whereabouts is your jacket from, so...
Shangling Market, Shanghai.
Nice. And what was your favourite suburb in Wellington?
My favourite suburb?
Yeah.
I'd have to say where I live, but that's kind of biased.
Roseneath. You could say Roseneath.
Roseneath. I love the views, love being close to the water.
Island Bay.
Island Bay's got a few issues getting in and out.
I know, yeah. It's a bit of an interesting moment at the moment.
So, Aaron, I got a sense, but just to confirm, you don't really have any interest in throwing your head in next year to try and improve the city?
Look, when I turned 50, I was like, I'm never going to get into politics again. I said the same thing when I turned 30, and I said the same thing when I turned 40. So, and I ended up going to Parliament twice and getting nowhere in council. So the answer is the council needs people around the table who can actually make some change. We don't have that currently. Is that me? I don't think that I am what Wellington needs, but hey, somebody's got to step up.
So, at the moment though, only 40% of people vote. Why would anyone really step up and say, well, I'm going to look after the 40% of people when 6% don't care enough to even vote?
Yeah, I look at this. I manage $100 million in property. Okay, I've got way more important things to do in my life.
Yeah.
I've got a wonderful set of kids to look after. I've got a beautiful wife, and I spent most of yesterday concreting my shed. So, And
you've been doing some plastering
today,
I
did some plastering today because I couldn't get a plasterer. So I could show off my paid plastering work, but hey, my father-in-law took me and YouTube taught me through it. So it just shows you the shortage of people who have got skill sets.
I was going to say, when you're going to take the family out, where's your favourite restaurant to go to?
My daughter loves the Thai, which is not called the Thai anymore. It's called
Thai.
because you love the chicken satay there.
Yeah,
But
pretty good.
if we don't go out with my daughter and with my wife and I, we go somewhere a bit more intimate.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oikos.
Oikos sometimes, yeah, maybe that. Or actually, quite often we just go to Italian.
Yep.
Yep.
And now, last time I spoke with you, you own a couple of businesses, or the premises, I think, in Hataitai.
Yeah.
Are you still got those? It's
Yeah. So we've got a couple of buildings in Otaito. We've got a couple of buildings down here in Courtenay Place, both of which need work. But look, I mean, it's 30, 40 million in capital required to fix them. And at the stage, given the council plans, district plans, parking issues, it's like, is it really worth it? And so it's a holding pattern.
I mean, what I'm hearing, it's a bit of hard work. Is it easier in other parts of New Zealand?
Easier in Christchurch. You've look what happened in Christchurch. I grew up in Christchurch. We had an earthquake. I left, met my wife, stayed here.
You weren't connected with the earthquake, though, were you?
No, well, you asked Brian Kamiki that. He'd probably blame me, or H staff. They probably blame me too. But I was an MP down there, of course, in Christchurch.
Don Postwell.
Don Postwell.
There's no Don Postwell
anymore. But look, I mean, what Christchurch has done post-earthquake shows you what can be done.
Yeah.
And it just needs committed people, people who are creative and some capital to mix themselves together.
Graham, you're about to get and a vision. Someone with a vision.
Someone with a vision. Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the moment, they don't have that.